Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial using colors that just really inspired me. I've never used these kinds of colors before. This look is going to be super dreamy, sparkly, ethereal, just things that I don't normally do, especially not with these kinds of cooler tones. But I'm so excited about this look, you guys, and I'm so excited about the products that I'm going to be sharing with you because some of them are seriously incredible. So let's just get right into this tutorial, you guys. So I'm actually going to start by prepping the eyes, and I'm going to go into my Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. I'm going to go ahead and use shade 2, C2. I'm just going to put a little bit of this on the eyelids, and I did do my brows off camera. Today I used the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil in the shade 3, and then the Foolproof Brow Powder in the shade 3 as well from Benefit. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend the concealer out with my Aesthetica Beauty Sponge. And next I'm going to be taking one of my favorite powders from the drugstore. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder, and the shade I'm going to be using is Fair Light 10. And I'm just going to take a tiny bit of this and sweep it all the way across the eyelid, everywhere that we put concealer, and this is just going to, again, provide a really great base for our eyeshadows to blend over. So now we are ready for eyeshadows. I actually recently was sent a ton of products from an Italian makeup brand called Nabla. I have been following them on Instagram for so long, and I was so excited when they reached out to me and wanted to send me some products. So I've been playing with their eyeshadows a little bit. Their eyeshadow palette, actually, I've been dying to use here on camera, but they sent over some singles, and this shade right here is incredible. So this is the shade that's going to kind of create most of our look. It's going to be the star of the show. Before we go into that, actually, I just remembered though, I'm going to be using a blush for a transition shade. This is the Flower Beauty Sweet Pea blush. I'm just going to go ahead and take this, and I'm just going to lightly sweep it right above the crease and kind of blend it up toward the brow bone. I don't need too much color, but I do want something there to help blend all the eyeshadows up, and I kind of want to stick to the pinks and blues instead of using a brown or something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this blush, and I'm making sure to really buff this out. I want it to look, again, really dreamy, ethereal, super blended and smoked out. And I'm just working in layers, building it up until I get the intensity that I want. This actually works beautifully as a transition shade. I don't think I've ever used it like this before, but it's such a beautiful shade. I love it. So next we're actually just gonna hop straight into that gorgeous duochrome shade. You guys, this shadow, this is called Alchemy, and it is so beautiful. It looks a little different in the pan. Once I apply it to the lids, hopefully the camera will pick up how beautiful it is. I actually like to just apply it with my finger, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take a little bit on my finger, and I'm gonna start to just apply this all over the eyelid. Oh my gosh, it's a duochrome, so in different angles it looks like a different color. I'm not sure if it's really picking up as intense as it is in real life. It's a lot more blue in real life, it seems like. The lights are just kind of reflecting the glitter. So I'm just basically packing this all over the lid. This is such an easy look to do, but at the same time I feel like it's so different and these eyeshadows are so beautiful that nobody would know that it's a really easy look. I'm just building this eyeshadow in layers on my eyelid. I do want it to be pretty intense, so I just keep building and building, and I'm mainly focusing it on the inner corner, but I did apply it across the entire lid. Next I'm going to be going into this gorgeous violet shade from Nabla Cosmetics. This is called Erisia, and we're going to really start to define the eye look using this shadow. So I'm just taking a little bit on a brush, and I'm going to start to really work this into the crease and in the outer corner. Again, just working in layers so that we don't overpower the duochrome shadow, but we're able to add just a little bit of definition. And as the brush has less shadow on it, I'm kind of shaping it out into more of a cat eye. So I'm angling it up toward the brow just to kind of subtly make a more winged out shape. We can sculpt out the line with a makeup wipe later, but just blending it up and outward when there's less product on the brush will help create that gradient effect. So now I'm actually going back into that duochrome shade called Alchemy, and I'm reapplying. I'm just working in layers since we did lose a little bit of that sparkle, blending over the eyeshadow with the purple. I'm just adding that intensity back, again focusing most of the product on the inner corner, and then I use light tapping motions toward the outside as my finger has less eyeshadow on it. So now I'm taking the brush that we used in the transition, and I'm just kind of lightly dusting over everything. I'm just touching up anywhere that looks a little bit uneven. I'm adding a little more product to this eye just so that both eyes look as even as possible. So next I'm just going to clean up the under eye area with a makeup wipe. We had quite a bit of glitter fallout with these shadows, so I'm glad we did our eyes first. And this is where we will really be able to carve out this purple. Before I forget, I'm just going to go ahead and line the waterline in the top. This will help kind of add definition there, but it won't take up space on the top lash line. So this is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Sabbath. It's a really pretty navy blue, so any navy blue would work. I'm definitely not good at, oh dear, there go my concealers. I'm definitely not good at doing this on camera. I'm trying to show you guys, but I really like the way this navy will look versus like a black. It's just something a little bit softer, and since we're doing something purple and blue, I feel like a navy will add that definition without looking too harsh. So for primer, I'm actually going to use the Smashbox Photo Finish, can't say that. I'm going to use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil. I have always wanted to try this, and I actually just got it in the mail from Smashbox, and I'm so excited. I'm an amateur. Oh, I can't do this Instagram thing. I'm just gonna put it in my hands because I just dripped it all on my shirt. Darn it. But I'm just gonna add this all over the face. I'm really curious to see how this works. I've never used a primer oil before. Definitely feels really hydrating and actually a little more lightweight than I anticipated. I'm excited to see how it performs. Note to self, don't drip it on your shirt. For foundation, I'm gonna be going into the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. Can't stop using this. Ever since I tried it, I just really, really like it. So mine is in the shade L2. I'm just gonna go ahead and dot some of this all over the face and then blend it out with my brush first. And then I'm actually going to add some coverage with my Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation in the shade Shell. I really love the finish of the Flower Beauty foundation, but I feel like I've got some problem areas, and so I really don't want to cover up too much, but I do need to add a little bit on the areas that need extra coverage. That way most of my skin can kind of shine through with the Flower Beauty foundation, but will have flawless coverage everywhere that I need it. So I'm just blending that out with my sponge. I'm just going back over the stubborn blemishes with a little more of that foundation, making sure to really blend it out and blend it down the neck as well. So now I'm going to hop back into my Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. I'm just going to use the same shade as before, shade C2. I'm going to add a little bit of this on the under eye area. I'm going to do one eye at a time again. I've just been really into that technique recently. Blending this out with my sponge, being careful of the eyeshadow in this area so we don't ruin it. And I really like this concealer because it seems to blur out my pores a little bit, which I am definitely not complaining about. I get larger pores right here, so I really like that this concealer kind of blends and smooths over that. We're gonna highlight on the chin, Cupid's bow, down the center of the nose, and on the forehead, and just go ahead and blend that out as well. I'm adding a lighter shade of that same concealer, the lightest shade in the range, just in the hollows of my eye, where I tend to get a little bit more darkness, and that'll just help kind of lift and brighten and bounce light out of that area. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and set the under eye area with the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Setting Powder. This time I'm using a shade lighter than what I used earlier, just so that we have a really bright under eye area. So this is the shade 05 Fair. I'm just going to go ahead and set all the concealer under the eye area first. Maybe I'll use a little of that shade on the chin and a little of that on the center of the forehead as well. And while we're at it, we'll just go down the center of the nose too. And then I'm going to set the rest of the face with the Fair to Light shade of the Maybelline Fit Me powder, because this one matches my actual skin tone better than the fair one, but I do like the fair one for the center of the face. So now let's finish up the eyes really quickly. We're going to go back into that Flower Beauty blush. We're going to use this as a transition shade on the lower lash line as well, just buffing it back and forth until it's nice and blended and connecting it to the eyeshadows that are existing in this area here. Next, I'm going to take that same brush and go into that violet shade that we used on the outer corner, and I'm going to go ahead and start to work that along the lower lash line just in layers and blend it out to connect with the upper eyelid shadows as well. This is such a pretty shade. Are you kidding me? Oh, I love that on the lower lash line. That's so pretty. And then, of course, now we're going to dip into that duochrome shade. I'm actually just using that same eyeshadow brush, and then I'm going to spray it with my Morphe setting spray. Hopefully that helps make it stick a little more on the lower lash line, since it's a little harder to use your fingers on the lower lash line. And I'm just applying that to the inner corner, blending it out about halfway on the lower lash line. That works pretty good. Just going to keep building it in layers. I literally think that's the most beautiful eyeshadow I've ever seen. It's so pretty. I wish you guys could see it in person, because like in camera it kind of gets it, but there's like a lot of lights. I'm trying to lean back a little. Could you see that better? I died when I swatched it when it first came to my house. I made my husband swatch it after I did. And he was really impressed too. It's a beautiful eyeshadow. I'm just blending away any fallout with the brush we used under the eyes. Let's apply some mascara. I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara. I'm going to do quite a few coats of this. I'm not going to be using false lashes today, so I really want to create that volume and false lash effect with my mascara. So I'm going to really take my time to build this up. I'm going to do 2, maybe 3 coats. Just depends on how good we can get it. And I'm going to do that on both the top and bottom lashes. So now that we've got mascara on, I'm going to actually line the waterline with this eyeliner from Urban Decay. This is Heartless. It's one of their 24/7 eye pencils. And it's just a really nice iridescent kind of lilac color. So it's not going to be super visible in the waterline, but I do feel like it will add a little something if the light catches my eye the right way, you know? So you could skip this step if you don't want to use something like this, but I personally think it just ties in the whole iridescent unicorn kind of inspired eyeshadow. Jeez, I drop everything. I'm actually going to go ahead and use that eye pencil as my inner corner highlight. I just thought this was so pretty as an inner corner highlight. I might add a little bit of actual highlight on top, but I just feel like that pretty lilac base really complements the eyeshadows we've got going on. So now let's bronze up the skin. We need some bronzer. I'm going to go into my L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It Bronzer. I'm still loving this stuff. And I'm just going to be using this to really warm up the complexion. It kind of seems to be grabbing onto my foundation a little bit more today. That could be because we used a primer oil underneath and my complexion feels a little more, well, a little less powdery, I guess I should say. So I'm trying to use a fluffier brush to see if that helps. Normally I don't have problems with this bronzer. If there is an issue, we can always blend it out with our loose powder. I'm just doing a soft smile to kind of sculpt the underneath parts of the cheeks. I'm also going to run this down the sides of the nose, underneath the lip, and then I am going to just blend over the bronzer with my loose powder. Not too much so it doesn't take away the warmth, but just enough to kind of blend it into everything else we've got going on. For blush, it's only fitting to use that Flower Beauty blush. It's going to help tie in the entire look. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this to the front of the cheeks. I love blush, so I kind of tend to go ham. I'm blending it back toward the temples just to kind of create a softer, more romantic effect. And I'm just going to blend over that as well. For highlighter, I'm going to use my Essence Pure Nude highlight. I love this. And I'm just going to use that on all the high points of the cheeks. I really love to build this highlight up, but I felt like it would be perfect for this look because it kind of has a little bit of a pinky undertone, slightly. And I think that will just pair with the pinks and purples and blues that we have on the eyes really nicely. But it's not going to distract from the eye look either. It's a really subtle highlight, so it complements it, but it's not going to be too much. I'm just going to go ahead and put some down the center of the nose as well. I love applying it right between the eyes right here. I don't know why. And then oh my gosh, I almost died. Whoa, and then I'm going to put some on my cupid's bow and some right above the brows. And I know I want to put some of this highlight underneath the brows right here just to kind of lift them a little bit. And I might add just a tiny bit on top of the eyeliner that we applied in the inner corner just to help tie everything together. So now I'm just going to wipe the foundation off my lips. I do this a lot because sometimes if I don't, I end up with that weird like white line in the middle of my lips and I hate that. So I always just try to play it safe and wipe off any foundation that got on my lips. For lips today, I'm going to be using the Buxom Plumpline lip liner in the shade Stealth. This was a product that was sent to me by Buxom forever ago, and it's just one of those things that like you wouldn't probably pick up yourself, but I'm so glad that they sent it to me because I've gotten so much use out of this pencil. So I'm just going to use this as my lip color today. Aligning and filling in the lips with this. It's just a really soft peachy pink. I wanted something slightly lighter than my lips, but not anything that's going to like wash me out. So this is perfect. So now we assess the situation before we lock it down with setting spray. I'm just taking what's left on my blush brush and adding a tiny bit more here so that it balances out the face a little more. I think we're pretty good on highlight. Just adding a little bit more with what's left on the brush as well. I'm going to go ahead and set the brows with my Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter Gel. This stuff makes your brows stay in place all day long. I love it. And it also kind of adds that feathery effect and gives texture back to the brows, especially if you like to use powder like I do. Sometimes the powder can kind of soften the entire brow, so this helps kind of add texture back and makes them last all day in the same spot, like they won't budge. Sometimes if I feel like the brow gel made my brow hair is a little too clumpy, I'll go through with a clean spoolie, kind of just brush that out so it's just a little softer. Sorry guys, I want more bronzer on the hairline. This is just how it goes for me. Like, cause once your face is done, like I feel like you can't always know how much of a certain product to apply until you've got like the lips and the eyes done, and then you can kind of see what's off balance and what needs a little more to help everything look a little bit better, you know? So that's what I'm doing. I think now I'm ready to lock it in. I'm gonna use my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. So there you have it, you guys. That completes my makeup look. I hope you love this as much as I do. It's so easy to do, but because the colors are so different than what, you know, I normally go for, or maybe what you normally go for, I feel like it just adds a little bit something more, and it makes it look like you tried really hard. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely check out Nabla if you haven't already. I can't wait to try out the rest of the products that they sent over. I'm ready to go on a date, you know? I can't just stay in the house with an eye look like this. I mean, come on. TJ Maxx is calling my name. I think so. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial and would like to see many more videos, please join the family by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, just go ahead and click on the notification bell after you subscribe, and that'll just mean you'll be notified every single time I upload. And I upload 3 times a week, so you really don't want to miss out. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this look. Again, I love it. I love it so much. So tag me in any photos of your recreations. On Instagram, I do Feature Fridays, and be sure to use the hashtag AGFeatureFriday so I can see it and tag me. I love you all so much. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.